What's going on, everybody? In a recent live stream, somebody asked a really good question about basic finger drumming, where to start, how to understand the basics, and had my MPK Mini right there with me, so I decided to do a really fundamental breakdown for beginner finger drummers, people who haven't even approached the subject before. I break down rhythm, subdivision, really fancy terms, but in a very basic way. So if you've never even tried finger drumming or any of this stuff, I think this is a great place to start. If you missed that live stream, no worries. I live stream pretty often, but make sure you subscribe to the channel and you have notifications turned on because I do take questions from the chat. Only way to get your question answered is to actually show up and be in the chat live. So make sure notifications are on so you don't miss a future stream. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is TAETRO, your electronic music mentor. All right, so what do we got here? We got our kick, clap, snare, another snare, some hi-hats, open hi-hat, two closed hi-hats, and an open hi-hat. All right, let's talk through some basic finger drumming and some patterns. So the easiest thing for you to do to figure out what kind of drum patterns you want is to really listen to some tracks that you like and figure out what kind of drum patterns they're using. I'm at 92 BPM, but I might bring that down a bit, right? Let me bring it down to 72. I could go really slow. We could break this down for real. We want to do a basic pattern. Let's do kick on 1 and 3, snare on 2 and 4. And if you're unfamiliar with like the metronome and all that, this high click at the beginning is the downbeat. That's a 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're just gonna keep in mind those cycles and the beats 1, 2, 3, and 4, beat 1 being marked by that high pitch click. So if I let that roll, I'm gonna just do a basic pattern, kick on 1, snare on 2 and 4, kick on 1 and 3. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. That is your most basic pattern, but what if we add some more hits in there? 1, 2, 3, and 4. You notice that I say and there. What we are doing is dividing time into equal pieces. And let me see if I'll pivot to a way to show you that in Ableton Live, actually make a new clip. Do I know how to do that? Of course I do, right? All right, so in Ableton Live, we have beats, right? This is a clip here, a 1-bar clip. You can hear the click go as the line goes. We have beats 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can see it's 1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. If this was a 2-bar, if I extend this, okay, so if I manually extend this to be a 2-bar loop. Okay, now we have bar 2, that's what the 2 stands for, and then 2.2, 2.3, 2.4. Okay, hopefully this isn't getting too dry for you all. But as that goes on, it'll say 1, 2, 3, and so on and so on. The decimal points represent the beat. Now, it gets a little bit more complicated as we zoom in because you'll see more decimal points reveal themselves, but we're going to ignore that for now. But what I was getting to was the and. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. If we divide that again and split that into more equal parts, like basically drawing a line here and a line here and a line here, we're going to call that and. So we're going to call that and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and. See, we're really just dividing rhythm over time. We're dividing up time into equal chunks. So as you can see, I started playing that on the hi-hat. So we can add a little more interesting thing to our very basic pattern, right? Give myself a little count in 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2, 3, 4, 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you can see once your brain is working in those cycles and counting those beats, you can subdivide in your head. So not only do you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. But what if we add a little more interesting things into the kick drum, right? What if we throw a little and? Like this. 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And then it just gets even more interesting. And as I want this to be super basic, I don't want to go too deep into finger drumming today. But what it gets into is you can subdivide that even more. And then you can subdivide things in really creative ways, like with triplets. And that's a little bit more advanced for folks. But as you start playing with that rhythm, that very, very basic rhythm, and you understand really the core, strong beats and ands, you can start adding in things with more interest. Like instead of a kick, you can add an open hi-hat. Now, if you're practicing this, I'm at a very slow tempo here. You might even want to go slower. But as you're practicing this, bump your BPM up as you go. When you get really, really comfortable playing a very basic rhythm, bump it up 10 BPM or 5 BPM. So I just went to 82. So you can see with that snare, I was doing a fill. I was still playing in time, but I'm hearing that subdivision in my head. And I heard that fill before I played it. I imagined it in my brain before my fingers landed on the pads. As you get more and more into it, crank up that speed. Let's go back up to 92. I think I was getting a little off time there, but you get the point. One of the reasons that I put 2 closed hi-hats on here is sometimes it's a lot easier to play 2 pads like that than it is to just drill into 1 pad. And then also you can use 2 slightly different samples to add a variation to your pattern. Hi-hats can get very stagnant. So if we play that metronome again. So as you can hear that, like that's very, very basic. We just broke that down into a way that hopefully you can understand with subdividing beats. You hear those strong beats, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now divide that in half using the word and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So there's that. And then if we want to subdivide 1 further, this actually sounds kind of funny. We say 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a. So we're going even deeper, adding more syllables in there, but hopefully that funny phrase and those syllables help you understand the subdivision of the time and helps you find a place for all these different hits in your beat. 3 and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a. So that was helping me visualize in my head that hi-hat pattern. You know, think about those things. Think about subdividing those beats, etc. Am I missing some questions? A couple of people said, yeah, use arpeggiator or use note repeat, which you could do. And what some folks are talking about, actually, let me show the controller, is that some controllers have a note repeat function that make this way easier. And I do use that on occasion. Basically, you just hold the pad down and you can, play your beats. And something I also show off all the time is using an arpeggiator. I don't think that you should use this in place of getting better at finger drumming. I think that there are some things that I would rather play in and some things that I have no problem using a hi-hat for, especially a simple driven hi-hat pattern. So as you can see, I dropped the arpeggiator right on that closed hi-hat sample, and I can mess with the rate, right? So if I don't want to sit there and bang out that drum pattern, here we go. It's very, very simple. The other thing that's helpful for are like rolls that are pretty impossible to play. Not impossible, but like I'm not going to play a 30-second note like stutter like that live. So instead what it ends up looking like is this. Instead of playing those patterns, you end up just holding the notes, which is fine. I'd use it for a lot of things, but not all the time. Sometimes I like to just play in all the rhythms, play in all the perks, and even if after I play in all that stuff, I might use a hi-hat loop on top of it anyway. All right, really hope you enjoyed that clip and that it was helpful to you if you're learning how to finger drum. If it was, please let me know in a comment down below. If there's other subjects you want me to cover in a future stream or a future video, I'd love to hear that as well. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, because it really helps the channel, helps get the videos out there. And watch one of the videos that's popping up right now, because there's lots more content where that came from on my channel. For now, thank you so much for watching. This has been TAETRO. Have a good one.